Good evening, I'm Emma Jane Vere and this is Television Tonga News. In the headlines, Her Royal Highness Princess Siulik Dapu Fotofili supports a program to put an end to violence against women. Real Tonga Airline suffers a loss of 60,000 ba'anga from cancelled tickets. And the local media invited on a demonstration flight of the MA60 aircraft today. Here's some more stories, including news from the Pacific, sports and world, and the weather forecast later on in this bulletin. Let's take a look at the news in detail. Her Royal Highness Princess Melisiulik Dapu Kalaniuvalu Fotofili officially opened a one-day program of the Ma'afafine Moifamili organization. The program aims to put an end to violence against women through transformational leadership approaches. Anasi Falegano was at the event and filed this report.
The theme of the program is Be Happy and Willing to Make a Difference. In the Guest of Honor's official opening remarks, Her Royal Highness Princess Siulik Dapu emphasized the importance of the moral life of Tongan women and also the uniqueness of human lives. The moral life of a nation shows in the lives of its women, knowing what is right and wrong. The difference is people have a conscience. We know the difference between good and bad, and light and dark, and this should be seen as we attend church every Sunday. The director of the Ma'afafine Moifamili, Betty Blake, thanked the guest of honor for her support in the initiative and sharing her experiences by working the grassroots level. Mrs. Blake adds that such programs are heart-lifting and helps build up the women. In previous gatherings and workshops, we have a prayer before inviting the participants to share and talk about their experiences without judging anyone. We create a good environment to invite sharing and embrace everyone who participates. That is the same thing we want to see today. The participants are representatives from various government ministries, civil society, and non-government organizations. This is the completion for Phase 1 for the program. Phase 2 will be carried out to the communities. This program is currently funded by the UN Women and the Ma'afafine Moifamili. Reporting from the Fofo'anga Hall, I'm Anasi Falegano for Television Tonga News.
Real Tonga Airline has suffered a loss of up to 60,000 ba'anga in costs over the cancellation of tickets from New Zealand tourists who don't want to travel on Tonga's domestic aircraft, the MA60. The loss is blamed on a travel advisory from the New Zealand Foreign Minister, Murray McCully, saying the MA60 is not fit to fly. Kalaine Tongilava has the details.
The statement was made by the CEO of the Real Tonga Airline, David Tapalu, to Radio and Television Tonga News today after discussions on Parliament today focused on the loss faced by Real Tonga. The issue was raised by Tongatapu 1 People's Representative, Aglis Pohiva, during Parliament's deliberations this morning. Mr. Pohiva told the House that according to previous media reports, Real Tonga Airlines suffers from a monthly loss of 20,000 ba'anga. He also raised his concern over Tonga and New Zealand's relations regarding the MA60. During Parliament's deliberations today, the Honourable Prime Minister Lord Tuivano corrected People's Representative for Tongatapu 1, saying that the pricing and costs were already figured out, that the company will not sustain a loss. Also, in regards to reducing the airfare rates, the Honourable Prime Minister says that the government wants to take the burden of high airfare rates from the local people and also for visitors who wish to travel to Tonga. However, the Member of Parliament, Mr. Pohiva, insisted that the problem was initiated by Tonga and New Zealand's opposing opinions on the MA60 aircraft. Mr. Pohiva told the House he believes there could have been a better solution to reduce this tension because of speculations regarding the negative impacts on the tourism sector. However, the Honourable Prime Minister says with the issue regarding New Zealand, there was no agreement or talks with the New Zealand government regarding this issue. Lord Tuivano also asked the Member of Parliament to write any questions regarding this issue for the government to answer. The Noble's representative for Ewa, Lord Nuku, elaborated on government's role regarding the private sector. Lord Nuku says, since Real Tonga is under the private sector, members of the House should know that government and the Legislative Assembly have no role towards this sector if they are operating at a loss. Meanwhile, the MA60 was in Vava'u earlier today where members of the media were invited on a demonstration flight to Vava'u to observe the safety standards of the MH60 aircraft. For Television Tonga News, I'm Caroline Tonglava.
The funds for the Tonga energy projects are managed and audited by its donor partners, according to the CEO of the Tonga Energy Roadmap, or TERM, Inoke Valafinau. The production costs of such projects are also audited by the donor partner. Here's Kalis Tuyonuku with more on that story.
The CEO of the Tonga Energy Roadmap, Inoke Finau, says that TERM focuses on injecting funds into Tonga by completing the requirement set out by Overseas Tonga. However, such funds are not given to TERM but are injected directly to the company which will manage and implement the project. The comment made after Radio Australia questioned the responsibility of the Auditor General Pohiva Tuyonitoa regarding the funds from overseas donors to TERM. Where is the money? It's with the World Bank, Reserve Bank, and the Asian Development Bank. In order to activate the fund, we have to meet the requirement laid out by donor partners. For example, if 5% of a project has been completed, the recipient sign an agreement in the presence of a witness to release the fund. Other processes follow, including the auditing and monitoring of the project. There are also funds from World Bank, but they have their own processes to be followed. Mr. Finau adds that there are procedures to be followed regarding fund release from donor partners. The final approval intending to release funds for a project is made from the Treasury Department. Those funds go directly to the project or company implementing the project. There is another project from World Bank and it needs auditing, and we're moving toward that. On the other hand, Mr. Finau said the operational fund from donor for a certain project will go directly to the Treasury Department, which is audited by the Auditor General. The Treasury Department also confirmed this to Television Tonga News. In addition, Mr. Finau said TERM does not have a set budget, but receives its funding from a vote from the Ministry of Land, Survey and Natural Resources. These funds are also audited by Government's Audit Department. A government board has been formed to monitor this and chaired by the Prime Minister Lord Devano, the Minister of Land, Survey and Natural Resources and the Finance Minister. A working committee was also formed to monitor and is made up of 7 members who are all chief executive officers from different government ministries.
New Zealand's Chief of Defence, Lieutenant General Rhys Jones, arrived in Nuku'alofa this morning with his wife and 10 senior officials from New Zealand's Defence Force. Lieutenant General Jones is on a goodwill visit to the Kingdom and will hold defence talks with the Tonga Defence Commander, Brigadier General Tau'aiga Uta'atu. Fatai Whainga'a has the details.
Upon arrival at the Taliai camp in Whamotu, New Zealand's Chief of Defence, Lieutenant General Rhys Jones, was welcomed by Tonga Defence Force Commander, Brigadier General Tau'aiga Uta'atu. During a welcome program, the Tonga Defence officers performed the traditional haka for the guest and his visiting team. Lieutenant General Rhys Jones also attended the handover ceremony of assistance from the New Zealand, Australian and British Defence Attaché to Tonga. During his visit, the priority issues discussed will surround training opportunities for the Tongan soldiers and other defence-related matters. This is part of both the government's attempt to strengthen its bilateral ties. Lieutenant General Rhys Jones was welcomed this morning at Whamotu International Airport by Lord Vehala of Tonga Defence, New Zealand's High Commissioner Mark Talbot, Lieutenant Commander Brisbane Lokotui and other government officials. He will leave Tonga on Saturday.
The Committee of the Whole House today held discussions on the Family Protection Bill 2013 to Section 22 of the bill. It's a section regarding police powers and duties. The section also includes police safety orders and contravention of police safety order. The Whole House Committee started its deliberations section by section on the family protection last week. It was agreed to delete Section 3E and Section 4E of the bill. This bill aims to ensure the safety and protection of all persons, including women and children. Several local media were invited on a demonstration flight of the Real Tonga Airlines MH60 aircraft from Tongatapu to Vava'u today. The trip is prompted by concerns raised over the plane's security and whether it's fit to fly. The MH60 aircraft is a gift from the Chinese government to Tonga. Our Television Tonga news cameraman Demsia Nemani and reporter Sini Latu were on board the flight and filed this report.
Today's demonstration flight for the local media is a routine flight from Tongatapu to Vava'u. Real Tonga Airlines MH60 aircraft has received criticism over the security of the MH60 aircraft. New Zealand's Foreign Affairs Minister, Murray Makali, has expressed his doubt over the security of the aircraft and questioned whether it's fit to fly. Several paid passengers were also on today's flight from Tongatapu to Vava'u who shared their views on the flight.
No, the flight was very good. It was professionally run and they did all the things an airline should be doing, and so it was quite enjoyable. You know, everything was good, no problem.
Oh yeah, it was fine. It was professional, and I felt great. The flight was smooth, comfortable. Can't complain.
The flight was comfortable. Everyone was very attentive, very good. It was a very good flight.
The positive feedback from the passengers on the security of the flight opposes initial warnings and skepticism over the MH60's flights. For Television Tonga News, I'm Sini Latu.
The annual Pacific Islands chapter of the Internet Conference, PAC INET 2013, is scheduled to be held in Nuku'alofa this September. The conference will celebrate the emergence of high-speed internet connectivity in the kingdom, following the commissioning of the Tonga Cable Limited by His Majesty King Dabo VI on August 21st. As one of the largest and most active Internet Society chapters in the Asia-Pacific region, PAC INET is the annual and inclusive Internet and ICT conference for the Pacific Islands. It focuses on local issues and developments in the Pacific region and seeks to provide impartial advice to governments and the public on Internet-related matters that are relevant to the Pacific Island people. This will be the 12th conference of the PAC INET since 2012. That's the local news. Pacific is next.